So as you guys all probably know, this month is Halo month, and during the lead up to the release of Halo 3 ODST, I'm going to be reviewing each of the Halo games in order, starting off from Halo 1 to Halo 3. In this review, I'm starting off with possibly my favourite game of all time, Halo Combat Evolved, or Halo 1 as I'll call it throughout the review. Now I could bore you with the details of how Halo came to be, but I already did that in my Halo Wars review, so instead I'm just going to jump straight into things. The story starts off pretty quickly. Some might appreciate that it's fairly quick getting into the action, but others might have preferred more of an introduction. Basically all that you need to know from the beginning of the game is that you've recently fled from a planet that was being attacked, you've been followed, and now you're under attack. At the same time, you've just discovered an artificial ring world known as Halo. The story is pretty straightforward at first. It's a typical, you're against a technologically superior race of aliens, but after around the 6th level of the game, things start to shake up. I don't want to spoil things, but let's just say that it's not just you and the Covenant on the Halo ring. The gameplay is quickly paced. You'll get a group of enemies to take out, you'll move forwards and then encounter another group of enemies to take out. Halo is all about being on the offensive and driving the enemy back. One of Halo's greatest strengths is the freedom that it provides to players. If you wanted to, you could enter a room with all guns blazing, or you could conserve ammo and take everything out quietly. You can basically approach Halo in any way that you want to, which is what makes it so great. One time playing a level you could grab a rocket launcher and blow stuff up. The next time you played a level you could grab the sniper rifle and pick enemies off in the distance. It's completely up to you, and because of this, playing a level is never the same. Halo has a large library of human weapons. You've got the iconic assault rifle, the fan favourite pistol, a sniper rifle, rockets, and a bunch more. On the other hand, however, the Covenant only have 3 usable weapons in the game. A plasma pistol, plasma rifle, and my personal favourite, the Needler. It's not that you can use some of the enemy weapons, but that's exactly it, you can only use some of them. Weapons like the energy sword and pure rod gun are unusable to the player. In addition to the weapons, you've also got a healthy number of vehicles. Humans have the Warthog, a jeep with a machine gun on the back and a Scorpion tank. The Covenant have the Ghost, which is a small vehicle capable of moving at high speeds, and they've also got an airborne vehicle known as the Banshee. You don't get into the Banshee often in the game, there's about 2 or 3 ways that you can officially get into it, though there are ways to sneak your way onto one before the Covenant notice your presence, however. Some of the vehicles in this game handle weirdly. The Banshee will feel weird if you've been playing Halo 2 and Halo 3 for a while, and the Warthog and the Ghost feel slippery compared to the ones in the newer Halo games. I also remember the controls for the vehicles being weird the first time I played the game as well. It certainly took some time getting used to it before I could drive a Warthog properly. Level design is generally pretty good, and most environments aren't all that linear, though there will be times where you'll have to stick to a certain path, most notably when you're indoors, but most of the time when you're outdoors there'll be a lot of different ways to reach your goal, and a few different ways of doing it. The problem with the levels is that they can get repetitive sometimes. In some levels you'll get the feeling that you've been in a certain room or been on the same bridge 1,000 times. Additionally, in the later levels you go back to some of the previous levels that you've already played, although this is slightly forgivable because you do have a different objective and you explore different parts of the level. Which brings me on to my next topic, the missions. The missions are pretty varied in Halo 1. While there are some get from point A to point B missions, there are others where there's an actual objective to accomplish. Some missions might require you to save some groups of Marines, others require you to sabotage some power generators. Among others, there's a decent mix of mission objectives here. Then there's the enemies in Halo. The Covenant has 4 species of enemies in Halo 1. You've got elites, which are sort of the military commanders of the Covenant, and then you've got the jackals who wear energy shields. Then you've got hunters, who are these massive creatures with a powerful melee attack and an assault beam. While they may look intimidating, they're actually easily killed, which is sort of underwhelming. By far the most memorable enemies in Halo though are the grunts. They'll talk smack when they're in a large group, but get them alone or if you kill their leader they'll start to run away. Grunts also serve as comic relief, often coming up with amusing lines. The campaign is fairly long. It's difficult to quantify how long it would take to complete the game because of varying skill levels, but after discussion with a friend of mine, we decided that it would take about 10 hours or so on normal difficulty. The game has 10 levels, but some of the levels, especially Assault on the Control Room, are pretty lengthy. Halo 1 also has a multiplayer component. It doesn't support Xbox Live, so there's no online play in the Xbox version. It does support up to 4 players on a console and up to 16 players using System Link, so Halo 1 is pretty good for LAN parties. If you want to play some multiplayer online though, you should probably pick up the PC version instead, which actually sports more multiplayer maps anyway. Halo 1 is a classic. It's credited with putting the Xbox on the map, and at the time of its release, it was a pretty impressive game. While the story may seem run-of-the-mill at first, if you keep playing you'll notice that there's a lot of twists and turns that'll keep you interested. The downside to this is that the Xbox version doesn't support online multiplayer, and that some of the single-player environments can get repetitive. If you own an Xbox or a PC capable of playing this game, and you're a fan of first-person shooters, you have to get Halo 1. Fortunately, it's pretty cheap nowadays. The PC version can be had for about £10, which includes its online multiplayer.
Man, we let those dumb bugs out to the middle of nowhere to keep them from getting their filthy claws on Earth. But we stumbled onto something that's so hot for that they're scrambling over each other to get it. Well, I don't care if it's God's own anti-son of a bitch machine or a giant hula hoop, we're not gonna let them have it. What we will let them have is a belly full of lead and a pool of their own blood to drown in. Am I right, Marines?
Sir, yes, sir!
Damn right I am. Now move it out. Double time.